Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Communications Cigars. Happy 2023 here for our first episode into the new year. I'm your host, John Crook, and today's episode, we're going to be talking about kind of an extenuation of that discussion we had on Nextel, but it's not about Nextel. It's what can be used in place of Nextel, and that is going to be about Zello, and more importantly, these kind of devices, push-to-talk devices. And I got a whole slew of them here, okay, that we're going to talk about here tonight. Everything from smartphones to actual like PTToC radios to even flip phones. That's right, flip phones. I have a flip phone, okay, that has a push to talk button on there. So we're going to talk all about that tonight, and we are really excited to go ahead and do it on there. Now, of course, this is a recorded episode. We will have some live episodes again. We will have some recorded episodes, as we always have to go ahead and do sometimes because of schedules and stuff. But guess what? Even though it is recorded, we are active in the chat here tonight. So good evening to everyone that has joined us on there. Remember, we do have videos here on Mondays at 8 p.m. or we do live episodes on Mondays at 8 p.m. here. So either way, it works really good. And if you're actually looking for more content, hey, go ahead and make sure you hop on and over and check out our YouTube channel, which obviously you're watching on. And don't forget to check videos and live. YouTube's kind of weird on how they have the two different categories, but some people may say, hey, you don't have a lot of videos and stuff. Well, actually, we kind of do, but it's videos which are recorded and live, which is what it is, live on there, so don't worry about it. Now, of course, Communications Cigars, we talk about all things with communications. And, you know, a lot of people have asked, I said, you know, John, it'd be great if you could focus more on the non-amateur stuff. And I've sat back and I thought, and I'm like, you know, that's kind of not a bad idea, you know, to kind of focus a little bit more about that. A lot of amateur radio shows and videos and everything out there and stuff like that. But, you know, there's not a lot of stuff about non-amateur stuff. So GMRS, FRS, like today's topic, Zello, public safety stuff, business communications, those kind of things like that, and other sorts of knowledge. So that's what we're going to kind of start to gear our focus for on communications and cigars. But notice, we say communications and cigars, so guess what that means? We have to talk about cigars. So that's right, talking about cigars. Now, you know, one of the things that I will go ahead and talk about, the reason we kind of started Communications Cigars was that people were going ahead and talking about, hey, how, you know, there are cigars out there, and, you know, it was kind of nice to talk about communications, and it's kind of one of those deals where it's like, you know, when you're enjoying and sitting back and enjoying a cigar, the biggest thing you can do is actually talk about communications. You're not working for a company. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. Guess what? That's kind of the whole point of communications and cigars. Some people have just said, well, drop the cigar part. Well, that's fine. We dropped the cigar part. What are we just going to be? Communications and that's it. Well, that's actually not a bad title either. But anyways, communications and cigars is the show there. Oh, as a matter of fact, we already have some stuff going off on our Zello, which we're going to talk about this, so I'm going to actually turn that down there, and I do apologize for everybody, but we're going to get into that interesting part of what just happened there in a little bit. First of all, I do want to go ahead and say, if you ever do have questions about the show or anything like that, you want to send me an email, have a topic for show ideas, those kind of things like that. Don't be afraid to hit me up. Communications-cigars@jjkcom.com. That's right, communications-cigars@jjkcom.com. And here's the thing, JJK Communications is the sponsor for our show. We do, in order to have all of our cool stuff that we have, we do have to have some sponsorship on there. And the thing about it is that we're not looking for sponsorship from viewers or people. People said, hey, you know, you don't have a patron account or anything like that. No, this show is kind of more like an educational show and stuff like that. And we're not asking for any sort of solicitation donations. If anything, if you have a topic of discussion that you're kind of what we would call a SME or subject matter expert, send me an email. Let's find out about it. Let's talk about it. Maybe have you come on the show here and stuff like that on there. But for right now, our email is communications-cigars. So communications-cigars at jjkcom.com. If you have any communication needs, questions, those kind of things like that, please make sure you can go visit JJK Communications at jjkcom.com. They're your solution for two-way communications throughout West Central and Northwest Wisconsin, featuring rentals of not only two-way radios, but also for system usage, consultations, anything you need to do with communications. They also have rustic radio rentals. That's right. Why go ahead and be restricted to bubble pack radios or cheap Chinese radios that you buy and they don't last very long? Check about renting radios and communication services from JJK Communications. They do offer communications beyond your normal cellular limitations. And with that, let's jump right into the show here. So what we're talking about today is Zello. And Zello is a unique concept. It is, in essence, what we might like to call now a POC or a PTToC. So POC stands for Push to Talk Over Cellular, and PTT is the same thing. PTT, Push to Talk Over Cellular. Now, they're both the same interchangeable terms on there. But what really kind of started to happen is that as Nextel died, what it found out is that it did create a gap. Alrighty. One thing Nextel had going for it, and I'm not talking about, there's like a new Nextel out there. I'm not talking about that, because that's this newer Nextel that's out there. And I guess I'm not even sure if they're still active or not, or what the deal is. They're basically Push to Talk Over Cellular. I'm talking the traditional Nextel, where your phone used the cellular network. It used a cellular frequency, and then it communicated to other people cellularly. Now we're away from that. Now we're using the internet to send data and data packets and everything, and that's kind of what Zello is, along with there's a few other ones, but I really enjoy Zello, and that's my personal opinion on there. Now, with that being said, it allowed that interconnectivity. But the problem that Zello had, the problem that Nextel had that Zello doesn't have, is that you really were restricted to people needing to be on the Nextel service, and then you're restricted to having coverage in the Nextel system. If you don't have Nextel coverage on your phone from the towers, you didn't communicate. Right. Zello is kind of this new era of push to talk technology. And what Zello really is it's a database that uses push-to-talk packets, in essence. And I'm kind of going at the 10,000-foot view here, because some people may understand or not. But basically what it's doing is you're pushing the button on the screen on the phone, okay? Or if you have a push-to-talk phone, you're pushing that PTT button if you have it mapped. And then that is basically recording it through the app, putting it into packets, and then sending it out to the Zello servers to go to where it needs to be. Pretty simple, pretty easy. The nice thing about it is that with this type of technology and setup, you have it now that it's going to allow you to not have to be restricted to one network. So in other words, you don't need to have, like Nextel, you had to be a Nextel subscriber on the Nextel network, right? Now you don't have to have that. You can be an AT&T, a Verizon, a T-Mobile, a Metro PCS, or even better yet, you can just have a data SIM and use a device in this kind of thing with the data SIM, and then that allows you to do this push-to-talk stuff on there also too. So it's really kind of expanded out there. And one company that has made it really nice and really able to expand it is, once again, Zello here. Now, I want to clarify, I don't work for Zello. I don't have anybody that works as a friend that works for Zello. Maybe there is, and if not, hey, hit me up. But it's interesting to find out the history of Zello, because Zello is in regards to push-to-talk technology, we are still sort of in its infancy. Okay, we're looking maybe in the last decade, really push-to-talk has really come onto the market. And at first, there was a lot of stuff that was out there, which was kind of like, kind of shady and that kind of thing like that. But Zello kind of has been in there, and they've really taken the ball and they've gone with. So Zello really kind of went into business. Trying to think here exactly. Checking my notes here. Kind of about 2007. They kind of talked about it. They acquired a company called LoudTalks. Okay, it's a LoudTalks technology. They rebranded it and they moved in Austin, Texas. So that's the nice thing about it, and that's why I like Zello too. It's a company built and made in the United States. Alrighty, it's not taking our data and sending it overseas to a server and you know, this kind of thing and da 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 da. It is based in Austin, Texas, right? But Zello really kind of was there. And when it kind of first came around, it was like in 2012, I think it was 2013 maybe. Maybe dates are kind of there, but like the app was out there and I started to use it and stuff, and I really kind of liked it. And the thing was, Zello has two tiers. They have a free tier and then they have a commercial tier, and sort of they have almost like a third tier, which is kind of like a business or a public safety tier, and we'll kind of cover all that in a minute here. But what really sent Zello into skyrocketing fame was during Hurricane Harvey in Texas back in, was that 2017? What happened is that, and you may have heard this, it was called the Cajun Navy, alrighty? But what they were trying to do is they were trying to get people together to be able to go ahead and communicate with one another. Now, when you have a large disaster, you have a large situation, you're going to give everybody a radio. And to be honest with you, you know, if an average price of a business or good radio, you know, is like, let's say $400 or $500. Now, I'm not talking public safety grade here. I'm just talking about like, hey, you need to be able to communicate between point A and B on these frequencies, not FRS, not GMRS, not ham, not MERS, not anything like that, but like a business frequency or public safety frequency. The bubble packs aren't working. FRS, not a good choice. GMRS is okay, but not necessarily everybody's GMRS. You see what I'm saying here? So that's where Zello kind of came to this, I don't want to say popularity, and people were able to do it because Zello is an app. That's all it is. It's an app that runs on your phone, okay? Trying to get it there, so my dirty fingerprints and everything. But it's an app that runs on your phone, and that's what it is. And then when you want to go ahead and talk on it, you simply go ahead and push the talk button on there. That's it. That's simple. That's all you need to do. And just like a two-way radio, you have that key up. So now I want to go ahead and I want to key up. I'm going to go ahead. Hey, test 1, 2, 3. And now my message went out. That's the neat part about push to talk. That's the great part about push to talk. It's simple. It's easy. I don't need to be dialing telephone numbers. I don't need to be doing anything like this or whatever. I put you in a contact when I need to talk to you or talk to many. On there, I can go ahead and just kind of show it off there. See, I already had someone that was going ahead and that answered back on my channel there. But that's how simple and easy it is. Once again, don't have to dial numbers, don't have to do any of that. And that's what the cool part about push to talk is. That's what the cool part about the radio stuff is, right? We don't have to do that. But when 2017 came, they did that, and then we had Hurricane Irma. People started to sign up for that app. Then was it September 2018, Hurricane Florence? People use Zello in the Carolinas. And then boom, it was there. Now here's the thing too. They did get some bad press because people were using some. They claimed that they used it for the Capitol attacks. I'm not going to get into there or anything like that on there. That's a heavy political item on there. Whether they used it, whether they didn't, whether they used it for good, whether they used it for bad, that's something else on there. But as you see, it has been used for good and not just evil, as what kind of people would go ahead and say on there. But first of all, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual aspects of what the company is. So Zello has really two tiers, and I'll pull it up here. So as you see on here, Zello has two tiers. There is a pricing structure that is on there. So you can have business if you want to do that, which the business side costs you, yes, money per month. There is an enterprise side of things on there. But if you want to more or less sign up, you can sign up here. And it's free. There is a free version of it. Now, the free version is very limited what you do. You basically have push to talk. And then from that point there is you have, you know, you can make basically direct contacts, or you can make channels. So a direct contact is literally that, direct, one-to-one. A channel contact is like a radio channel where you can have multiple people sign in to that channel. Now, once again, you can try it for free, see what it looks here, see how it works. It's great. It's not a problem. If you want to go ahead and you think you might want to use it for business purposes or for your companies, then by all means, sign up and purchase that service there. If you look at here are some of just the companies that are listed on there. So yes, Honda, yes, Hyatt Regency Hotels there, Hilton Hotels, Yellow Truck lines on there, lots of others. But I think here's the other part here. If you go ahead and click here, I think this kind of shows you a couple things about it in that it's not this rinky-dinky fly-by-night kind of thing. Oh, it's in an app store and I can go ahead and use it. You'll see there's a bunch of public safeties, but here you go. Here, airline companies, messenger services. There's a fresh food company. Just all these kind of things here. And these are all the different kind of stories, the success stories on there. And I will tell you this, I too use it for, like, we'll go in here just because where I used to go, Bud's Ambulance, Daly's Ambulance, when I grew up in Chicago area, the south suburbs, that was there. So Zello, once again, now has, like I said, the structured tier set of saying, hey, there is a public safety one, there is a business one, and then there is the free one. And this is really also a great way for you to keep in contact with your family if you're looking for that. My kids, my wife, we all have Zello for usage on our personal side. Then I have Zello for usage on my business side of things, okay? And then I have Zello for usage on my public safety side of things on there. And that's kind of the interesting and the cool part about this and how we have it here is because it allows you to have that tiers. And the best part about it is more of a fluid type of system. So for an example, with my different accounts, if I want to sign into a different account on my phone, I could sign into a different account on my phone, right? I don't have to go and have it as like, oh, okay, I can only have it on this phone, and I can only have it this phone. No. That's not it on there. But Zello really has that kind of neat feature aspect on there. Now, once again, just kind of scrolling through here, you can see these are all the ones that are on there that are going ahead and listing on there. Once again, different pricing options, different kind of things. If you want to sign up for it, you can sign up for it. They do have dispatching services on there. So what you can do is just if you have a trucking company, you have this kind of thing, you can actually dispatch and send messages through it. On the other hand, too, is go back here, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page here. You also have channels. Now, channels are the cool part where there are at, okay? Because channels allow you to, once again, have that group of communication on there. So, for an example, you may have like you may have a one-to-one conversation, but then, for an example, for me in my personal life, I have one-to-one where I can call my wife, I can call my daughters, my dad and my mom and all that kind of stuff. But then also too is I have it where I have it set up in a channel where I can talk into the channel, and the channel goes out to everybody that's on there. So it can go out to my wife, my kids, my dad, my mom, everything like that on there. That's the cool part about it. And as you see, there's a lot of different type of channels that are on here. It allows you to do it. Now, emergency channels happen on there too. Now, what is an emergency channel? Emergency channel is just that, where you can push a button and it will send out an emergency alert on that channel for people if you need to go ahead and get into it. And there's just multiple things that can take place on there. So if you're interested in taking a look at that, I would go do some research. Zello.com. Yes, that's right. Zello.com. Not Zeely, because some people like Zeely, or not Zillow. All right, it's Zello. Zello.com. Now, if you're into GMRS, if you're into some other things, you probably are already familiar with Zello. And that's kind of the cool part, and I'm glad to hear that, because now what happens is, let's talk about devices real quick. And devices offer a wide variety and a wide range of options and solutions. Alrighty. With technology, with the data aspect of things today, guess what? You have certain things that you don't need a phone to run a Zello application on. That's right. You can have a small device that's a push-to-talk device. It runs off of basically a data SIM card. So in here, there is a SIM card, okay? And I'll just go ahead and kind of open it up here real quick. And you see there's a little tiny SIM card in there. That SIM card allows you to go ahead and use the data of whatever carrier provider you have, because that's what this is. This is data. Now, what's really cool about the data aspect on there is that there are certain companies out there that have cheap, inexpensive data plans for your stuff. I mean, really, there are. There's and I want to back up. Zello doesn't use a lot of data. I've had heavy months, and I'm maybe using 200-300 megabytes. Okay, once again, megabytes. Alrighty, your usage is going to vary. Your mileage is going to vary. Depends on how much you use it. If you don't use it a lot at all, you don't have to do that. But there's different places out there that you can buy SIM cards that give you a year's worth of SIM and data. Like, you know, it gives you like 365 days, and it costs X amount for the year, and it gives you a total data the whole year of like, you know, 25 gigabytes or something like that, or whatever. But there's are different options on there. So that's the cool part. You don't need to have a voice plan for it. Or better yet, this device also has Wi-Fi capabilities. I don't need to necessarily have a SIM card. I could take it, turn it on, connect it to the Wi-Fi network. As long as my Zello account's in here and it sees the internet, guess what it's doing? It's going up through the Wi-Fi, and now I can use this device at home. No SIM card needed, all right? So that's kind of one of the devices that are out there. Then you have the more traditional, which kind of, you know, is the main thing there, is, you know, running on a smartphone device. So this is the app here. Try not to get too much of the background on there. Has basically your push to talk button in the screen here. You want to push to talk. You hold it. You hear the chirp. Then you see the circle go red. Then you can go ahead and talk. When it is receiving a signal, it's going to go ahead and it's going to turn the circle green on there, so you know that you're actually receiving. Cool thing about it is that they have taken some time to do their software. This is a cool thing on there. So you can go into your options. There's an options menu in there. Now, once again, this is running on Android. I'm sorry I don't have my iPhone with me to go ahead and show it on there. But you can assign push to talk buttons, and there's a screen button, and there's the Vox button and everything like that that's on there and what have you. But here's where it's really cool. I assigned the volume up button to go ahead and be able to talk on the radio here, or the phone here. So I have a Pixel phone, so as you see, there's a volume up and volume down button. All I simply do is I can go into my contacts here. So I'm going to go into Echo, and this is a cool feature. I'll tell you 1 second here, but I'm just going to push to talk button. Whoop, ready? Ready? And now I'm talking on there. Now all of a sudden I let go of it, and then voila, it stops the transmission on there. Now, Echo is kind of a cool thing that they have built into their server, and what it does is it allows you to echo back to see how loud. Maybe you need to adjust some settings. Hey, maybe I got a Bluetooth earpiece, because this works with Bluetooth earpieces, earbuds, those kind of things, whether you have an actual physical cord or a wireless one. But now I can go ahead and say, it's like, hey, test 1 2 3 4 5. Test 1 2 3 4 5. So it allows you to record your voice, and it plays it back right away for you. So now you know if you're going in and doing good. Once again, lots of functions on here. One of the functions I'll go ahead and do is like, we'll touch it here, where you can actually take and turn it to speaker. If you have a Bluetooth connected in there, Bluetooth connected in there, you can actually do that. It goes great through a car stereo system. So if you have a Bluetooth thing on there, you can just hold it, put it on the dash. You want to talk to someone, you can just be like, hey, how's it going there? Yeah, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then it goes through the car speakers for you and those things like that on there. So that's kind of the cool part, and that's running it for the most part on a app or a smartphone, I should say, on there. Before I go on to the other type of smartphone, I'll go over to this one. And these are starting to become popular again, folks, especially for these scenarios. You can pick them up pretty cheap and inexpensive. They are a flip phone that has a push-to-talk button. This is a Kyocera model. Sona makes a few out there, and I think there might be 1 or 2 other ones that are out there, but this is an actual design for a push-to-talk button on there. So what you can do is you can take and then just simply push the button, you go ahead and talk on it, and it's good to go from there. It does also even have an emergency button on there for your things. The thing that runs into an issue here with using a dumb phone, a basic phone, whatever the terminology is called this week, is that you have to side load the API, the APK, not the API, I'm sorry, the APK. And what I mean by that is you have to actually go into this, download it, and then do it there. And I'm trying to find real quick here where it has it on there. There is support with Zello here, so it's kind of nice to have that support here. But if you go to, here we go. I'm going to pull it back up on the screen here. If you go to like personal support, or better yet, hardware, if you take a look on the bottom of the page there, it goes ahead and tells you that they work on Android, iOS, Bluetooth devices, Mac or Windows OS. So you can actually download a program to run on your computer there. So it works really easy with that. Wired devices, here's wired devices up there. Lots of different things on there. They have gateways, which I'll talk about in a minute there, but that's the kind of neat part about it. So go to there. If you want to browse the hardware, they have devices here. So if you go to the devices, here you go. Here's looking at a couple of them here. I have the Samsung. Here's one I was just showing you, the TE390. Here's the Dura XE. So if you want to learn more, you can go to the Dura XE there, and then it will tell you, hey, where you can buy it now, those kind of things. So it takes you to the actual manufacturer's website, so you know what to do there, and then you can go from there. Lots of different things on there. And then when you want to download the software, you have the, here you can go to, resources here. Let me get to, but anyways, personal support, resource library. You can side load it, all those things on there. Everything easy to do. How do you create group conversations? Android app, iOS, iPhone app, those kind of things there. Easy and simple to do. But you do have to side load the stuff. So you're going to have to basically, for the most part, download the APK, and then you hook up your phone to the computer. Or you can even, it was actually easier. I just sent a text message with the APK link to there. I opened up a browser and it downloaded it there. Super easy. Okay, super easy on there. Now, push to talk phones. You saw some of on there. Here's the Sonim XP8. I kind of retired it. It had some issues. I had some issues with Sonim on this device. Sonim, as of when I was talking to them recently, they will not support or even repair any out of warranty devices. So Sonim gives you a 3-year warranty, great, but like for example, the screen was kind of coming up here a little bit. This isn't a screen protector, this is what came with it, but it's was kind of coming up. There was some firmware issues on there, that kind of thing, Sonim said, nope, is it out of warranty? I said, yeah, I think it is here, I said, well, if you don't have proof of warranty, or it's out of warranty, we're not going to support it. I said, but you haven't discontinued this model. This is an XP8. When I called, and they said, nope, too bad, we don't do that anymore. So I kind of got turned off by Sonim. Sonim, doubt you're watching, but if you are, shame on you, okay? But what I did move over to I moved over to the Samsung Galaxy X Cover Pro, and that's what this device is right here right now. And I like this because it has a push to talk button on the side here. It does have a button up on the top that I can reprogram, does have headphones on there, but once again, it will easily run and do Zello on there. Now, running easily on Zello on there, once again, it has some of the same things that you can do on there, so you can do an echo channel. But this is where it kind of gets cool, because this one is being used we use it on our ambulance service. So as you see there, it has a scan function. I'm going to turn this up a little bit here. And what's happening right now is on the scan function, what's happening is we actually have channels crossed over to our Zello. Some are for receiving only. Some we can actually go ahead and transmit on. So as you hear, so that's what's coming in from, well, we have a scanner feed, because you don't need to go ahead and have a radio if you're just receiving, right? So we use a scanner feed on there, but now we can have a list of our scanning channels on there. So if we're away or you're off duty or something like this, I can turn on our scanning channel and I can say, oh, okay, here's what's going on in the county. Here's what's going on there, that kind of thing. That's for us on the ambulance service. Now, I know some people make patches and make those kind of things with the free version. However, the free version is very limited and capped in regards to that option. So that's kind of the disappointing part on there. But as I said, the cool part about it is that you have actually the push to talk button, which once again, you heard that. Now, you heard that little chirp difference, right? You're like, wait a minute, why was that sound different? Because that's quite kind of part of this whole cool customization of Zello, which I'll get to in a moment. But same features on there. But from a public safety standpoint, it's great, because the features you can get by signing up for a public safety option. With Zello, let me turn that down a little bit. With Zello are pretty amazing for public safety. You can have mapping, you can have tracking, so free tracking, so tracking your ambulances or tracking your other public safety units, or better yet, if you go along and you're using it for, let's say, a search and rescue team, you can go ahead and have it and saying, hey, here's the deal. Users, come on, turn it on when you're out on deployment or something or whatever. It's going to go ahead and we'll be able to, in the command post, track you. Has the ability to send pictures, has the ability to send text messaging, has the ability to send alerts. Okay, with the ability to have alerts, it is truly, truly, truly like a way of having an old Nextel on there, if you're familiar with the alerts. So I'm going to go ahead and call one of the other people on the business side of things, and let's see if she's on. 38 to 39, are you on Zello? So now I just went along and called someone else on there.
38, I copy you.
Hey, thanks. Can you go ahead and send me an alert on my Zello here?
Copy, standby.
So what's really nice about it is that, hey, let's say I have my phone just on my screen there. It's doing nothing, da-da-da-da-da-da, and maybe I have the volume turned down and someone's trying to get a hold of me on Zello. Oh, what is that? Beep, beep, beep. Wait a minute. That's just like the old Nextel alert there. And now what you can see is kind of in there. I have a little alert. I drop it down here. Now what it is she sent an alert saying, hey, test alert. So now I can go in there and saying, oh, she was trying to get a hold of me. The other cool part about this whole thing with Zello is inside your phone or your channel on the app, whether you have the business version, the public safety version, or there, you can actually replay conversations. So if I needed
38 to 39, are you on Zello?
Now I could go ahead and quickly replay all those conversations.
Can you go ahead and send me alert on my Zello here?
Copy, standby.
So if I wanted to go ahead and find out and saying, wait a minute, what did they just say? Did I miss it? That kind of thing. Now you can actually go ahead and replay back on there. And that's kind of a standard feature that's across all the different aspects of the Zello services. Same thing here. On the public safety one here, nice thing is I can actually go back in there, and now because it's receiving it, I can actually go ahead and play all those scan messages that I'm receiving here right now. Now, one of the things I did say, Zello, very customizable on there, alrighty? I was always getting worried as to which one or which channel I was on or which radio I was using, so I wanted to be kind of that geeky nerd. I know, shocking. So what I did is on my personal Zello or business accounts, my push-to-talk alert is, would help if you got to go in the app. You got to go in the app unless you have the push to talk button. Push to talk button, it lets you push to talk right from the main screen, where with this app, you actually have to go in there if you don't have a main push to talk button on there. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go into this here. If I listen how it keys up, let me go back here. Let me go into echo so I'm not bothering everybody. So it keys up. You hear that? That's a standard like chirp that normally everybody's used to, like public safety radios on trunk systems or whatever. Right? There's that chirp on there. However, I did a little differently because my public safety and business is a little different. Did you hear that there? I actually have it sounding a lot like an actual Motorola kind of turbo radio. And you can do that. You can change all of those custom audios and options and everything like that on there. In here, this is just a kind of a little bit of a kind of a scroll of all the different things that you can go ahead and do and edit and sound volumes and everything like that on there. So Zello really makes it a lot easier to use to kind of have that functionality and everything in there. Oh, I just actually took a picture on it, as you can see, and guess what? You take a picture, you can send it all there. It's really great, all those kind of things. So let's see here. Actually, I had to come in here. So a photo was just sent to me, and of course here's a photo of my two dogs. Okay, that was just sent to me on Zello just now. That you heard that little cheat sound like a little camera symbol. It's that diversified on there. Nice thing is that with the free account, we'll call it, you can go ahead and add any friends that you want to, as long as they have a Zello account. You don't have to be on the same account. You can just be on, in essence, the free one. So I sign up. I have a friend that signs up. You go into contacts, you add their contacts by the screen name or the email address, and then they can validate you, and then we can confirm one another on there. You can create channels, and when we create channels, once again, you can go onto the Zello webpage. talk about how to create a channel on there. You can create a channel. The channel could be open. Anybody can jump on the channel there. Or you can create a closed channel. That means that you have to actually have a password to get into that channel. My channel for my family that we use, it is a closed channel. Let me go ahead and turn this one down here. Nice thing about it is you can also turn off channels sometimes here too. So I'm going there. So I turned off the channel. Now it's not. Now I'm not going to go ahead and hear it. But with that being said, is that you can create open channels or closed channels. So if you have friends, you're going to be doing something. You guys are going out to the lake. You're going out with the boat. You're whatever you're doing, and you need to communicate. You can create a channel on the fly, or maybe you already have a channel, and then you can give them the channel name and then the user password. So that's kind of Zello in a nutshell. I know people are going to ask, well, John, how are you getting that audio over? How are you doing this and this and this? And we'll have another episode coming up on that here soon, because I know a lot of people are going to go ahead and want to say, hey, how's that done? And we'll dive into the in-depths of that in another little episode. But hey, every single episode is not an episode until we have, you know what really bends my antenna? You know what really bends my antenna is how we're dealing with communications of a push-to-talk nature. We are in its infancy of things. And I'll tell you what, Nextel was ahead of its era. Hands down, I've said it before. So once Nextel left that market, now we needed to find something that came up with it. And now what we're doing is we're doing push-to-talk over cellular. But the thing about it is that we really should not be having such an isolation of the two. And this is what kind of bends my antenna this week, is that if you take a look at different aspects and different companies, there are companies coming out there that are doing the merging of push-to-talk devices and radios. Motorola has some out there. Kenwood did have somewhat on there, but it was more or less a push-to-talk thing. It didn't have like an actual RF component in there. Harris, if I remember correctly, is starting to sell radios that have a data side to it. There are some other ones out there that are barely usable for the amateur world, but they're saying, hey, you can do business and stuff like that on there. No. What needs to happen is that we need to take a look and see how we can start to embrace this technology. This is something that, no offense, has been thought of and talked about in sci-fi movies and everything like that for ages upon ages upon ages. To have one device and seamlessly go between different types of networks for instant communications. Even furthermore, that's what public safety devices are starting to be able to be used for, to be able to seamlessly roam between different networks for communications. Imagine going ahead and being able to say, hey, here's the deal. I can talk on my two-way radio. Then when I get off my two-way radio network of actual RF over the air, I can hop onto a Wi-Fi network. But then better yet, to have something that we could say, hey, let's also merge the two together. So when you're actually talking and you're off the RF network, you move over to the app-based technology. Guess what? It's there. But we're hindering ourselves on it. The manufacturers are making products out there, but they're trying to draw a line of saying, this is a push-to-talk device, this is a radio device. And while some do cross, some don't. Good example, Motorola Wave. If you haven't heard Motorola Wave, look up Motorola Wave. They have devices that use cellular connections, primarily Verizon, to be able to use a device that, in essence, is like Zello here, but they charge quite high prices for it, and you have to use it in a cellular environment or a Wi-Fi environment. You can't use it as an RF component. Now, the thing that's also going to come down to, though, is that if you truly do want, and too bad we can't have a device that's truly RF and app-based, which merges it together and hops between two networks, in essence, you have to have a supporting infrastructure to it. And we, unfortunately, are not there yet. We have looked at numerous different things. We have looked at how we can connect point A to point B and everything in between. And while it works sometimes, it doesn't always work. What you have is you have two clusters or groups of people that are communicating within their networks, and then you're bridging those networks together, whether that be through physical bridging or whether that be through a network type bridge. We're not quite there yet. I feel as technology is going to go ahead and advance, we will go ahead and be able to be there. But until we can actually start to work and start to embrace this push to talk over cellular, or PTToC or POC, depending, is going to go ahead and be very fractionally like it is. Sad part is that in the communications world, I've seen way too many times in fractionations. And my concern is that as this fractionation continues, we will grow further and further and further apart, instead of going ahead and saying, you know what, we have two parallel lanes, and at numerous times, just like an interstate or freeway, there's that turnaround in the center there. The lanes do cross if they need to do that. So unless we can go ahead and get working on something that's going to make the seamless integration on there into one device, I feel we're going to be fractionating. It's only going to get worse. And that's what this week's Bend My Antenna is all about. So I want to thank everybody for tuning into this. Once again, feel free to email us if you have any questions, comments for the shows, or any ideas. Until then, I want to say, everybody, take care, stay safe, enjoy 2023, and if you have a cigar, sit back and enjoy it. And based on how weather might be here in the Midwest, I might have to go out into the garage and enjoy my cigars because the weather's going to be horrible. So what better time to get caught up on my shows? Until then, everybody.